afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Eagle Game Day Live here on the Edge of Philly Sports Network, NFC Championship Game Edition, with your boy, Matty B, and Big Mike joining me. Mike, scale of 1 to 10 on your ampness, 1 being the lowest, 10 being the absolute highest.
30. I'm ready to go, dude. I'm ready to go. Like, I've been ready to go since 9 o'clock this morning. I had to deal with a fraud 49ers fan for a couple hours this morning. I had to paintbrush him and slap him around and show him I'm ready to go, dude.
Me too. Lines. I think,
Let's go, boys.
Painted Lines checking in. Let's go. It is a festive mood around the Delaware Valley. I guess they probably descended upon the Linc. What time did the gates open? Around 10 o'clock, maybe this morning, 11 o'clock did the gates open. Up and down there, I'm not really sure, but they are definitely there now in force as the entire city and the region, southeastern PA, waiting for this matchup that has returning the Philadelphia Eagles to their NFC Championship game for the first time in 5 years, Mike. The last time we were here, it was here in Philadelphia on our way to Super Bowl 52. Before we get into the X's and O's, before we get into all that, Mike, what is any similarities, if you have at all, to the last time we were in this position? Or what are some of your concerns that maybe were different than the last time we were here?
Concerns? I don't know, because if you remember the last time we were here, you know, they said that we were going against the number one defense the last time. And it's kind of like history repeating itself. Eagles didn't get a lot of love throughout the week. It's all about how the 49ers can come here and win. So, to me, my confidence level is a little higher right now. It's a little high. You know, I look at it like this, Matty. That 49ers team, they have not played a defensive line like ours all year long, and they damn sure haven't played an offensive line like ours all year long. So that defense is going to get tested today. I'm not saying that they're not good, because they are very good, but the Eagles so far this year, we've already played two teams that had the number one ranked defense or the number one ranked rushing defense going into the game. And the Eagles put up over 200 yards and 190 yards, with being Jacksonville and Dallas. So it kind of looks well. It looks like whenever the Eagles want to do what they want to do, they just go out and run their offense and say, try and stop us. And I think that's going to happen today.
No doubt. It's absolutely a very correct assessment. The Painted Lines checking in saying, wow, Matty B is the host. Quick shout out to Howie Roseman for putting together the best roster in Eagles history. Listen, to the Painted Lines, to all the other individuals out there, I am not coming off the Howie Hill. I never will. I don't like him. I want him gone. And I don't care. We haven't won anything yet. I just want to preference this right now, right? We haven't won anything yet. I do acknowledge that the fact that we're standing in the NFC Championship game, there is something to that. I get it. I'm not saying he hasn't done a good job. I just don't like his philosophy, the way he builds teams. 18 pending free agents, Painted Lines. Listen, you tell me if that's normal. It's not. That's not how you build a winner and sustained winner. So let's enjoy the ride that we're on right now. Shall we?
Yes. Let's enjoy this ride. I will get into what Howie has done and not done. We have a whole offseason to talk about that. I want to get into the nuts and bolts of this game today, because I have been salivating. This has to be the biggest disrespect week against our Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, and I'm going to start off, you know, how is Nick Sirianni not in the conversation for Coach of the Year when he beat one coach three times, beat the other coach, and now he's got to play the other coach in the NFC Championship game? So he will be, if he wins today, he'll be 5-0 against the top coaching candidates for Coach of the Year.
Right.
That's one. Brandon Graham being left off Comeback Player of the Year is a travesty. And the other travesty is Hassan Reddick not being up for Defensive Player of the Year when he has better statistics than 2 of the 3 guys that are on that list. It's been disrespectful all week. All the nation talking heads have disrespected the Eagles, and I don't know about you, Matty, but this seems eerily familiar to 17 when they didn't give us no chance at all. The dog mask had to come on, but like Bartred says, we're not underdogs no more. We are the dogs now.
No, and I agree with you, Mike. But let me kind of touch on the Nick Sirianni thing. I kind of agree with the pundits out there. Listen, to go along with the Howie Roseman business about him providing Nick Sirianni the multiple weapons that he has this offseason, it's, to me, to me now, it just seems like Nick Sirianni did what he was supposed to do. He employed them the right way. They won. They had a superior roster. You had your guy winning the executive of the year, whatever. I look at the coach of the year a little bit differently. Kyle Shanahan, for example, is in the NFC Championship game on his third string quarterback. Brian Daboll took the New York Giants from a state of irrelevance to a state of relevance in one season. Doug Peterson taking a dumpster fire organization, the Jacksonville Jaguars, to the division championship, a playoff victory. That to me is what the makings of a coach of the year are, not necessarily doing what you're supposed to do. So I'm going to kind of side a little bit on the pundits on the Nick Sirianni team, but the other 2 points about BG and Hassan Reddick, I am completely agreeing with you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to bring up Michael Parsons for an example. Did Micah have a good year this year? Yeah, but he disappeared the last 6 weeks of the season.
Yeah,
and painted lines, I agree with you. Dallas got Hassan Reddick's going to eat today. And here's a little tidbit fact, right? Their best offensive lineman San Francisco has is Trent Williams. Okay. Brandon Graham has owned Trent Williams throughout the years, has owned him. And he's their best offensive lineman by far. McGlinchey on the other tackle, he's going to have his hands full today with Josh Sweat. But my key is, believe it or not, I like the guys coming up the middle. I like Jordan Davis. I like Hassan Ridge, or not Ridge. I was about to say Hassan Ridgeway. He's not even on the team no more.
I like him too.
Yeah, Hargraves, Fletcher Cox. These guys got to go. Dominican Sue, Linval Joseph. They got to put pressure up the middle today. And I think if they do that, they're going to, number one, the Niners are coming in banged up. I mean, Elijah Mitchell's not playing. Just saw the report. He's out.
Yep.
He's out. And McCaffrey's playing with a bad calf, which means, they're probably going to go to their third string running back or Deebo Samuel. So, I mean, if the Eagles could shut down the run and make Brock Purdy throw the ball, I like our chances, especially with Avonte Maddox being back to take the slot. Gardner Johnson can go back to safety. Dude, that kid, that's all he does. He's a ball hawk.
Yeah, Mike, no, you're right. And let's get into that now. Let's kind of start this up. Let's talk a little bit quickly about how these two teams got to this point. Last week, the Eagles defeated they didn't defeat. They demolished, embarrassed, disassembled. They did everything other than defeat. I mean, defeat was like in the first quarter. As the game wore on, it got worse. 38-7 victory over the New York Giants. Real quick, it was maybe their most complete effort of the season. I believe it was as good as it's been all year long. That was the Eagle team that we remember all season. They checked a lot of the boxes of concern that Eagle fans had about the injury to Jalen Hurts and the injury to Lane Johnson. They did all that. 38-7 winners. Do you sense a sense of maybe overconfidence with this fan base? And I'm not talking about the Eagles, but the fan base heading into this game. And how impressed were you over that victory over the Giants last week?
No, I don't really. I haven't really heard a lot of negative, I guess, we're going to kill the 49ers. Haven't heard that. A lot of the fan base has given the Niners their respect. It's actually kind of been the opposite way around. It's been the 49ers faithful who've been kind of questioning, about how they're going to come here and take over the stadium, and this is going to be Niners East. And, and I don't know if you saw highlights of their takeover over at Xfinity Live yesterday.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, it was like 200 people. Our man E-Rock had the best line. He said he didn't know if he was going to a funeral or a bingo game, but that's what it looked like. And I'm like, wow, they call that a takeover, huh?
Was the Gobbler the Grand Marshal? Was he like the one in charge?
I don't know, but I think he was probably entertainment somewhere there. That guy. But no, seriously, I don't think it's overconfident. And you know what else I like too? People like the media tried getting certain players to talk off topic this week. If you saw the Miles Sanders interview, they were talking about his contract extension, and he shut it right down. He goes, I'm here to talk about the 49ers.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm worried about is the 49ers. So that tells you what's going on in that locker room. They are laser focused on this 49ers team where, the 49ers kind of got over a hurdle last week, or not a hurdle, but, they had a close game with the Cowboys. And let's keep it real. If Dak is remotely a better quarterback in that game, Dallas beats them. And them losing Tony Pollard hurt them. if Tony Pollard breaking his ankle, I mean, in the second quarter, who would have knows what that game would have looked like if he had played a whole game?
Yeah, no, it's absolutely correct. But part of me, Mike, and I know a lot of you, part of me was a little upset to see the Cowboys lose last week. I was
Eagles, me too. I wanted Eagles Cowboys 3 for this year, and what better way to put it? What better way to put it in the NFC title game? But unfortunately, Dallas couldn't hold up to their end of the deal.
No,
but I'm not sad or shocked by it. But it would have been nice. But we got to deal with the 49ers, and like I said, the 49ers faithful kill me because obviously, and it's mainly some of the ones that are from here that are 49er fans that I've been chatting with back and forth, and they're like, oh, well, Bosa's coming. You remember the game Bosa had last year against your team? And I went, yeah. I said, Lane Johnson wasn't there last year. I was like, Lane Johnson hasn't given up a sack in 3 years. I was like, guess who's going to be in front of Mr. Bosa? I was like, Mr. Johnson. I was like, so you can bring Mr. Bosa. Mr. Johnson will be waiting. And that's exactly, and this is where I feel like the Eagles have the Eagles offensive line, I feel is going to get the better of that San Fran defensive line. They're not a power defense. They're a fast defense. And the way you beat a fast defense is you pound the rock at them. They keep getting hit. I'm telling you, they're going to be on the field. And if you go back, the Denver game this year, the Denver Broncos laid a blueprint on how to beat this 49ers defense. They ran the ball at them all game and just pounded them. And they only put up, I think they lost, I think they won, what was it, 13-11? So it was like one of the most oddest scores or whatever, but they lost that game in Denver to the Broncos. And I'll tell you what, the Broncos pounded them. Eagles got a much better offensive line than Denver.
Well, let's take a look at that a little bit. Let's look at some of those matchups, those position battle matchups. Let's take a look first at the San Francisco running back core versus the Eagles defensive line. As you mentioned, the 49ers dealing with somewhat of an injury issue on that front. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey, who's dinged up himself. Elijah Mitchell has just been ruled out. Then you got Jordan Mason against Davis Price. Other than that, I mean, let's separate Christian McCaffrey from the others first. There's nothing really to talk about the others. It all really kind of centers down to Christian McCaffrey, how they use him. He's so much more than a running back. He's so much more than an X factor. He's so much more than a flanker, a swing guy. I mean, he is their X factor times 2, whatever you want to call it. What is the plan, and how does the Eagle defensive line match up and stop Christian McCaffrey?
You got to contain him. The problem with the Eagles have been is they were able, between the tackles, they're able to corral. The problem with the Eagles have been, what the problem that they were running into before they signed Sue and Joseph is that the guys would take it up to the line and then bounce to the outside, and there wasn't no pressure getting in. This is where Fletcher Cox has got to be Fletcher Cox. Okay. They're paying him $14 million. Fletch, we need you to go make your money today. And I feel like the limited rotation that him and Brandon Graham had played throughout the year has really helped them, because Fletcher Cox was wreaking havoc a week ago against the Giants. I mean, he didn't get no sacks or anything like that, but he was getting in there. BG was getting in there. And that's another thing. This is why I feel like the Eagles are stronger on both the lines. You contain McCaffrey. Listen, they're going to try to get him the ball multiple ways.
Yeah.
Screen passes, whatever. They have to. Our defensive line has to be disciplined. If they stay disciplined, they're going to shut down this line. Remember, you had guys like, Derrick Henry that came in here who they tried to do the same thing to and feature the ball. And to be honest with you, I feel like Tennessee's got just as good as offensive line as San Francisco.
Now, absolutely. And now
they shut them down.
Yeah, they did shut them down. Let's take a look at the 49er wideouts versus the Eagles secondary. You mentioned Avonte Maddox has returned to the lineup for the first time in a hot minute as he was dealing with that injury. They're going to be asked to kind of keep in check Deebo Samuel, who is dinged up, Brandon Ayuk, Jennings, and then George Kittle. Mike, I don't know about you, but when I look at those skilled position players, those pass catchers, it reminds me an awfully lot of what the Eagles have. It features the same type of players, the same type of skill set. I might give George Kittle the nod a little bit over Dallas Goedert as far as the tight end position goes, but a very similar offensive package that the Eagles secondary will have to deal with, and as the Eagles offensive package yourselves. Is that a plus for the Eagles that they've practiced against those types of players, that they understand what those types of players can do? They understand what to limit the damage on those types of players, because you're not going to be able to stop them. They're going to get theirs. They're going to eat a little bit, but you got to try to keep in front of them. And the other part of that, are you concerned that we get back into another JG soft zone, bend don't break type thing?
No, I don't think so. I don't think he's going to do that today. And the reason why is, one, this whole thing with it, I don't know if you paid close attention to what the Eagles have done over the week. What's the safety? Anthony Harris? Anthony Harris has been activated up. That's a good thing. Anthony Harris is good in coverage. And I think they activated him for this game to help take Kittle away. Okay. Even with, you can slide Marcus Epps. You're going to see them go to probably a one linebacker, which will probably be TJ Edwards. You're not probably going to see a lot of Kazir White today. I would be surprised if you did, only because the way Kittle is, the way Kittle can run routes in the middle. And the Eagles been kind of susceptible in the middle this year. So the way I'm looking at it is this: for us to turn around and to beat these guys, you have to start five. I would start 5 DBs. I mean, or 5 defensive backs. I would move Epps up because Epps is a hitter. So if they're going to try to run it, or if they even try to screen it, Epps is fast enough. He can cover McCaffrey. Okay. You have Anthony Harris to take away him. You have him and Gardner Johnson. And if they disguise some of their looks with the young rook, it's going to look like he's open, but you figure you got the ball hawk back there now. And if I'm the Eagles, I'd lock all them up one-on-one. I think Slay and Bradbury can lock up Ayuk and Deebo Samuel. Okay. The question is going to be, is Jennings against Avonte Maddox? So
we get to wait and see how that plays out. But and then the last position battle we'll take a look at before we get to the big one. So we'll take a look 2 more, but I'm going to save this.
Oh, wait a minute. Brian just said Harris is inactive. I thought they were going to activate him. They were talking about it yesterday. So
okay. Thank you, Brian, for hitting us up with some.
Thank you, man. Thank you for the last minute stuff. I thought for sure they were going to activate him. So
that might change things. Now, obviously, Hassan Reddick does not work well out of pass coverage, and that concerns me. Kazir White has fallen off a cliff over the last 7 weeks.
Yes.
It's going to be interesting to see what they try to do there. I don't think Hassan Reddick can cover George Kittle.
No.
Not on his best day. He can't do that. So it's interesting what they may do. But my concern is, and I mentioned the JG thing, I don't want him to get too conservative before he realizes he can get more aggressive. I'd rather be more aggressive than then kind of settle into conservativity. I really do. And I don't want him to start out that way, especially if the 49ers have the ball first. And
right.
I don't want a long drive and all that.
No, they got to come after him. He's a rookie quarterback. You give the first 2 plays, I would say, to your defense, see if your front 4 can generate a pass rush. That third play, you got to come with some pressure. Send a linebacker up the middle, get somebody in his face, because he's shown last week, 49ers showed chinks in their armor a week ago. Dallas Cowboys, I'll tell you what, as much as I don't like DeMarcus Lawrence, that dude had a game last week. He was beating Mike McGlinchey like a rented mule last week. And I'll tell you what, Micah Parsons took McGlinchey and threw him sideways. He did almost like what Kelsey did to the Giant. Like, Parsons was able to get him out of the way. And I'll tell you what, if this keeps up, man, they're going to be able to go and get after these guys. As long as it's Purdy's got heat in his face, the one thing he likes to do is to back up, and try to throw the ball. He backs up. He's a dead man walking.
I agree. And let's get to that matchup as you kind of alluded to. Brock Purdy, Jalen Hurts, the Clash of Titans. Well, not really, but I don't know if you caught this, Mike, but the other night on FS1, they replayed the Iowa State-Oklahoma game from 2019, Brock Purdy versus Jalen Hurts. I don't know if you caught that the other night on Friday. They did that on FS1.
I remember watching that game. That game was like one of them, like if I remember right, it was a few years back, and I think it was like one of those Fox like 8:00 games.
Yeah,
it was something, or maybe like late afternoon.
Instant classic game, because I guess Iowa State came back late, but I forgot CeeDee Lamb and Jalen Hurts were teammates in Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. I'd forgotten that, man. But so let's get to Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, Mr. 7th round draft pick. He's 13-0 heading into this game. I want your assessment of him in 3 different ways. I'm going to give you 3 different situations. You tell me which is the most likely about the Brock Purdy's success. Is it Brock Purdy? Is it Kyle Shanahan? Or is it the San Francisco 49ers? What is, out of those 3, do you think is the most helpful to his success at this point in his career?
It's got to be Kyle Shanahan. And the reason why I say this is because Shanahan's putting him in situations that he knows that this kid can flourish in. Like if you're watching Brock Purdy, like I'm sorry, like this is what I said. If I'm the Eagles defense, if I'm Jonathan Gannon, I'm telling Slay, I'm telling Bradbury, you guys are on an island unless we say so, and you concentrate everything else on the middle because he doesn't go downfield. He does not go downfield. He goes downfield every now and then, and even if he does go downfield, you know, you got to stay with them. This is where Slay and Bradbury, they're making their money. This is where they got to come in and make that money. So, you know, I look at it. I look for them to be one-on-one. This is where Gannon's got to concentrate on the middle of the field. It's where the Eagles have been soft at, and you can't. I know you ain't supposed to deviate from what got you there, but when a team is good at your weakness, you got to be able to take them. You got to be able to take them. I think they got to get in Purdy's face. They got to come up the middle on him. Force him to make a decision to go one way or the other.
Yeah, no, I agree. At 3:00, of course, at the Linc, a balmy 50-degree plus day at Lincoln Financial Field. You might bring out your sunblock and your beach chairs as you're down there in the tailgate. I don't know if I like that, Mike. I prefer 0 degrees, snowing, and 18-mile-an-hour winds out of the south. Personally, I don't like because it eliminates that factor. It's kind of 52 degrees in San Francisco as well. So I don't know if I like that. Eagles, of course, are going to enter this game as the home team, sporting the green and white, and the 49ers with their pretty white and copper gold pants, white jerseys and gold pants are their uniforms. The injury report, we kind of went over a little bit. A pretty clean report on both teams. Mitchell is out from the 49ers, their running back, but Avonte Maddox has been activated. He will participate in today's game. Mike, let's get into your 3 keys to Philadelphia Eagle victory. What are the 3 things if the Eagles do today, they will find themselves on the way to Super Bowl 57 and their 3rd Super Bowl appearance in franchise, or fourth Super Bowl appearance in franchise history. God damn.
They got to be patient. Get what the defense takes them, but I'll tell you what, they have to be ready for just about anything from this 49ers defense. I think 49ers are going to bring pressure. Screen game is huge today. I think if they can get screens going with Gainwell and with Sanders, they can definitely do some damage.
Yeah, and my number 3 key to Eagle victory is right off the bat is the defense. You mentioned it. Make Mr. Purdy know that we're there. Put him on the ground very early and very often. Make Brock Purdy hear footsteps. Do all those things that you do old school to get inside of a quarterback's head and make him realize he is above this moment and he doesn't belong here. You start chipping away at that, maybe you have a better chance to win. My number 2 key to Eagle victory, Mike, is this. The Eagles, as you mentioned it, you said it a little bit. Don't forget what got you here. I understand you may have to deviate and go left or right a little bit, but do not forget what got you here, the style of ball that got you here. There's a recipe for Eagle victory all season long, and we've seen it. It's aggressive. It's opportunistic early. It's building up those big first half leads, and it's kind of coasting to the end. We've seen it, and we've seen it not work out well, and we've seen it work out well. Stay within that. Don't get away from what you have done to get here. And my number 1 key to Eagle victory is Jalen Hurts, friggin' Jalen Hurts. Turn him loose. Turn the boy loose. Get him running. Get him moving in that pocket. Make him create what he does so well, opening up spaces, doing his progressions, hitting those wide receivers, extending them plays, Mike. And that is my Eagle 3 keys to victory.
I'll tell you what. I have a surprise play in this game. We haven't seen or heard from this guy in a while. Look for Quez Watkins to do a stop and go today. I got a feeling they're going to do that a lot because these San Francisco DBs, they love to jump the route. And I'll tell you what, he does a pump and go. Yeah. Quez is gone.
I agree. I agree. And we haven't seen much of Quez lately, and he's kind of let us down a little bit. All right, Mike, we've reached that point in the show because we don't want to stay on here too long because we know you got better things to do out there than to listen to us. But don't forget, we will be back at postgame. Make sure you're looking out for us as we will hopefully be talking about an Eagle victory. But before we go, Mike, it's time. Prediction and score. Big Mike Laro, who do you got and what do you got them by?
I got the Birds winning this game 31-17. And I think that San Francisco defense is tired by the middle of the 3rd quarter. I think they wear them out.
I like where your head is. I like the Eagles in this game myself, but a little bit of a different score. I like the Eagles 41-38. I think this is going to be a smackdown, drag out, offensive showcase. I like the conditions down there at the Linc. They kind of say that's going to be that way. I like 41-38. Eagles late come back and win it. I don't necessarily think it's going to be maybe on a last second kick, but I think it's going to be tight. It's going to be a tight game, but it's going to be a high scoring game and a very fun game, Mike.
Yeah, I definitely see that, man.
All
right,
right,
man. Well, go Birds, and we'll be back to see you afterwards. We're going to have all your reaction. Hopefully, we can get Big Al and Joey Sheeran from the network. Hopefully, we can get a hold of them to get down here and get on with us. But to show reactions.
Yep. Until we talk again at post game, go Birds. Mike, we'll speak again here at the end of the game. Everybody else, enjoy yourself. Stay safe out there. Have fun, and let's get that victory and let's get on the Super Bowl 57. Go Birds.